Hello, this is essay writing 412. Writing essays at the 7th level. We should see how writing is done at the university. Speaking is not like writing. When we speak in fragmentary English. We can have one part of a sentence, one single word, phrases. Sometimes the grammar is not correct. Nobody notices because we speak quickly and there is fluency. In writing, we have a chance to correct our English. We write in a formal manner. There are certain rules that we follow when we write, and there are many problems to face. Writing doesn't happen naturally. We don't simply hold a pen and then there's a sheet of paper, then we write and that's it. Writing does not mean that we know the meanings of words if we are translating from one language into another, if we are thinking in one language and then writing into another. We think that we can write because we have some ideas, let's say in Arabic or French or any other language, not English, and then we know the equivalent words of these sentences, of these ideas. Then we put them on paper. This is not writing. Writing is not English words on paper. Writing is a way of thinking. Writing is organizing our ideas. Writing is a number of things that we are going to talk about in this lecture and the other ones. Since this is the first lecture, I'm not going to talk about the specifics of the course. Specifics like that this course teaches argumentative writing, writing an argument. We can write an argument, we can write a counter-argument, we'll see that later. We can write classification, this is the manner of writing, this is the type of writing. There are a number of things we'll talk about in the next lecture. This introductory lecture will tell us about general requirements concerning English and the written page, how the sentences are written on the page, the grammar, and so on. Introductory to what we're supposed to do. What we're supposed to do, we'll talk about later, which is writing arguments. But now let me see the problems that many students face when they take this course. Many students face a problem when they do not study writing academically, and they start writing in this course for the first time. They keep studying for something like a number of months, 3 months or so, a semester or a term. They read a book, or they attend lectures, or they watch this lecture on the TV, and then they write on the day of the exam. This is not the way we do writing. Writing is a skill that we have to hone, we have to sharpen, we have to practice to write well, and to write at the academic level. There are many mistakes I'd like to discuss, and they have to do with the courses before that one. The students who take this course studied before 7 other courses. Not all of them have writing in them, but they studied translation, the science of translation, literary terms sometimes, and they come to this course and they start writing in an academic way. What they wrote before was simply sentences or paragraphs or answers to questions. Today they will write a full essay in 5 paragraphs. They fail if they are not ready. They fail if they don't know what's required of them. If their study is simply a dictionary type of study. Sometimes they study books of English and they have a dictionary beside them, a dictionary that's English-Arabic, and whenever they find a difficulty with a word, they look up that word. So they keep reading and translating the words. When they write into English, they do the same thing in reverse. They have a dictionary that's Arabic-English, they have ideas in Arabic, they look up the words, and then they put them together side by side. This is not writing. Writing is not like the writing system, like when I write A, B, C, or write words like my, name, and so on. This is not writing. Writing here is like a creative skill. It's a skill. We are doing what writers do. We are doing something similar, but not exactly the same, similar to what Ernest Hemingway does. A writer writes, a writer creates sentences. A writer creates a novel, and this novel is made up of chapters. The chapters are made up of sentences. We need to create sentences. We are not translating. We are not collecting some pieces of ideas from here and there, jotting them down in Arabic and then translating them into English. we are creating, although this course is not creative writing. This is academic writing. This is the ability to write in general that will be used later in translation. When we translate from Arabic into English, we need to create text that's really original. We actually write the text in English. Our purpose is to write from scratch. We have ideas, we turn them into essays. We don't have text in Arabic that we turn into English. Let me comment on what students do so they know what they are required to do before we start talking about any technicality. First, this is our course 412. Our first lecture will talk now, we'll give an introduction about the requirement and the mistakes that we should avoid. Why do some students repeat the course over and over again? In one word, they never study academic writing, or writing for that matter, not at all. There is the wrong concept that writing, also called composition, is simply putting English words on the paper. Students use a dictionary, an Arabic English one, and learn a list of words. See that? A list of words. That's not writing. Now it is time to write. Scribble a few Arabic words that are somehow related to the topic. Then translate the words into English. Voila. This is what many students do, and this is a mistake. You write something in Arabic and you scribble it, some ideas that are not linked together. You haven't got something that's well thought out. It's written in Arabic, which is in Arabic in your brain, and then you turn this into English and you say, here we are, this is my essay. This is not a good thing to do. Maybe they do not translate from written Arabic words, but they still translate Arabic words in their heads. This is a big mistake, either to translate Arabic words into English or to have ideas that are formulated in Arabic in your head and then translate them. Now, many people will say, we don't know any other way to do it. But no, there is another way. The students may convince themselves they have excellent knowledge of English. They know the English words, Al-Mawrid style. Al-Mawrid is a dictionary that gives us words in English and in Arabic. It is a bilingual dictionary. You look up the Arabic word, it gives you the Mawrid gives you the English word. We can't use a bilingual dictionary in order to write. We are confusing ourselves terribly. We don't use dictionaries at all when we start writing. But when we are editing, we can use dictionaries that are monolingual, only English. For thousands of Arabic words, so there are the English words for the Arabic words. Why do they fail? Because they have two languages, they confuse themselves. Students sit down to write, scribble, scribble, scribble. What's meant by that? They have words, they have ideas, they have phrases, they are put down on paper in any way, in any organization, or without organization. We can't accept that. No analytic thinking. They write without analytic thinking. We need something called analytic thinking. We need division. They have no line. Line here means one line of thought, one train of thought, one idea that you follow from beginning to end. Not everything in the world, not any idea that will crop out in your head. There has to be analytic thinking, division of one idea, of one line of thought. No line, no organization, no idiomatic English as used in real life, in English texts, in English films, in English life, not translation from another language. No accurate usage of words. Words should be used accurately. We use this particular word in this particular context, but not any haphazard use, not just any word, anywhere. Phrases are not accurate. No sentences, and we should know what a word is, what a phrase is, what a sentence is, and we don't confuse these things. No structure. This is the point. Writing without a structure, this is a big mistake. No reasonably correct spelling. When you say reasonably correct, maybe the spelling could be a little bad here or there, but not all of it, not the basic words. So the spelling has to be at least reasonably correct, or correct altogether. But mistakes in the spelling of the basic words like go, come, play, must, may, whatever. This cannot be acceptable. No genuine ideas. We need this. This looks like very creative. We need genuine ideas. It doesn't mean that we have to create things, really create like geniuses or something, but they have to be original. We don't simply copy what other people say. We say what we believe, how we see things from our own point of view. We try to come up with new ideas by putting old ideas together in a different arrangement. We do something new, something which is our own. So we can never learn a subject. We learn by heart. Somebody wrote an essay on something or another, and we learn this by heart, and then we write it, and we say, this is ours. This is not genuine. Just jot down what's being learned by rote. We cannot do that. We learn things by heart, then jot them down, write them down in any order. No, not that. No correct layout of the page. This is the bad writing. We say why people fail this subject. There is no layout. The page has to be laid out properly. For example, if we write paragraphs, we should see the paragraph, and we'll talk about this in a minute. No English. So if all these things I mentioned before are not there, there is no English. English is not that I know how to translate one word or another. English is a way of thinking. If these things I mentioned before are not there, there is no English. Now complain. Why complain then? Students may sometimes produce a good essay that's well written. See that? They still fail. Why? Simple. The requirement was, for example, write an argument answering the question, should smoking be banned? So this is what's required. Write an argument to answer this question. Should smoking be banned? We say yes, it should, or no, it shouldn't. The student writes an essay on the art of the cinema, completely off point. Now this is important again. Important again because some students say that writing means that I have in my memory many pieces of good writing. I have learned lots of passages from William Shakespeare, from his poems or from his plays, passages from this writer, that writer, an essay in the newspaper by Terry Eggleton or whoever, and then I think this is good, and then I can write this down. No. We should answer the question given to us. Should smoking be banned? I say yes, it should be, or no, it shouldn't be, and then I prove my point. If we are off point, good English has no use. I should write on the point. Or an exposition of the history of cigarettes. Sometimes it looks like it is on point. For example, we talk about smoking, and smoking is smoking cigarettes, and then the writer writes about cigarettes. But we ask the writer to write about should we smoke or not? Should we ban it? Should the government ban smoking? Forbid it? People are not allowed to smoke, and so on. Now, we should take the question given to us, the point, the limited point, the one line given to us, and we follow it. We follow this line, should smoking be banned or not? Now, the history of cigarettes, this is off point. So, we said we follow one line. We have one argument. We don't write anything that looks similar to the idea given to us. No argument and off point. When I read the history of cigarettes, where is the argument? Where is the point of view? And again, it's off point. The idea is that some students think that the essay course is an achievement one. Now, this is a point. The essay course is not an achievement course. It is a skills course. They think it's an achievement one, meaning they have to learn things by heart. They have to learn information. Like when students study a history text and they are given questions on the details of that history text. They say, we learn by heart all the details. There's this detail, number 1, 2, 3, and then they write these in the exam. They have made an achievement. They have collected information. Then they reproduce this information. The essay writing is not achievement. There is no information to collect. We don't collect information. We write an essay, we create sentences that will express our point of view. Nothing is learned by heart, so we cannot prepare for the essay course by reading certain texts. We read a lot to improve our ability to think and express ourselves, but not to learn things by heart. So it's not an achievement exam like studying history, for example, One where you learn by heart a number of ready-made essays. We never do that, ready-made, on different subjects, hoping that the exam will include a topic already learned or one that's remotely or closely related. So we don't study for the essay by learning other essays, unless of course we learn how they are written and we imitate the way they are written, not the essays themselves. Essay writing is a skill. This is the major point. Everything is summarized in one word, a skill. We sharpen this skill, the skill to write sentences, and then to write paragraphs, and then to write essays. And these essays follow one line and a number of things that we'll talk about while studying the argument. But we train ourselves by writing hundreds of essays on different subjects. At the end, we don't have a particular topic to talk about. We can talk about any topic because we have the ability to write sentences. Those who use the set book learn that. Of course, this is another requirement. The set book, the book we should read, helps us know what we are required to do. It tells us this idea: learn the skill. Students should be able to write at least a very simple sentence. When you write a very long essay, it's made up of a number of sentences. If the student is unable to write a simple sentence, everything else is useless. Before we start thinking about difficult ideas, like for example, things we are going to mention later, about, let's say, pharmaceutical companies have property rights and they want us to respect that right. Should we respect the right of pharmaceutical company? We have ideas here, big ones, difficult ones. Before students think about these things, before they run to the internet and look up ideas on pharmaceutical companies, they have to ask themselves, can I write a simple sentence? Now, this is not a contradictory thing. We say, how come a course like this very advanced, talks about a simple sentence? We talk about that because people really succeed to learn a lot of material without being able to write a simple sentence. People study for different exams and they pass them because they learn things by heart. And they advance to this level, the 7th level, and then they stop. Because here they have to write a simple sentence. And I don't say the essay is one simple sentence, but if you can write one simple sentence correctly, you can write 2, and 3, and 20, and 1,000. Put them together, maybe you can write an essay. But if the student is unable, and the majority of students are, the student is unable to write a simple sentence, the student is going to fail. So if we find a difficulty here, let's train to do this first before we take the course. Let's try to learn how to write a simple sentence on different issues. For example, we ask ourselves, who are we? Say, I am an Egyptian, I'm a Saudi. Then another thing, I want to study English, I'd like to be a writer, I want to write more, then more, say other things. Now, what about talking about a situation in a restaurant? What do you want to eat? What would you like to eat? Do you like to eat this or that? What about a situation where you talk about cigarettes? Now, there are different things we have to learn outside this course, where students are able to make sentences in different situations. Students should write sentences only that sometimes when they're sitting down alone studying by themselves. They watch a film on the TV, and then they sit down, they have a sheet of paper and a pen. They start as absolute beginners, starting to learn English, and they say there are things like this. This film is good. I like this film. It is a film by Mel Gibson. Mel Gibson is the director of the film. The film is such and such, and then write on and on. Events in the film, this one or another one. He treated her harshly. She was really very sad. She loved him. However, he was very cruel to her. Now, simple sentences, then another simple sentence, then another, then a linker. Now we are moving one word up and so on. There are students who cannot write these simple sentences and they take a course in writing, and this is funny. We should tell ourselves first we will be able to write simple sentences like these in response to films, to books, to real life situations. Learn this from a grammar book or somehow, and then start taking this course. Back again to what we have in front of us, I say we should be able to write a very simple sentence first and then write an essay. I repeat it, sentence. William Shakespeare is great because he writes sentences. Ernest Hemingway is great because he writes sentences. So you can write a good sentence, you can write a whole essay. The sentence is grammatical, is correct, and it is English. When we write sentences that are a translation of another language, carrying over the grammar of the other language, like saying, for example, he running very fast, full stop. Where's the verb? And then, must play all the time. Where's the subject? And then we say, book on table. Where are the definite articles? This is Chinese, because in Chinese, or some language in China, they don't use the articles, they don't have articles. But in English, I have articles here and say, there is a book on the table, a book on that table, or the book is on that table, and so on. Now, the other sentence I mentioned before, or something like, this affects on them. How come affects on? There is no such thing in English. Again, this is a translation of Arabic structure. Now, if it is wrong all through, and it looks like it is a translation of another language, word for word, and the grammar is the grammar of another language, so this is not English. The letters are Latin, A, B, C. Now people call this English. And the words look like English words. There's a word cat and go and run and running, but they're put together and they don't look like English, so we have to write English. So, not an awkward translation of the structure of another language. When we think that language is words, when we believe that the dictionary is our savior, and we have a dictionary beside us and we're learning words, and we say we will be proficient in English, we'll be very good in English by learning a very large number of words. So we have words, 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 and then we put them together. We can't put them together, they don't stick together, so we have a structure. The structure, we get it from Arabic, or French, or Italian, or Chinese. So the words are put together, but they are not English. So we need this kind of structure. We learn this by reading a lot of English, not by translation. Students should respond to the given topic. They respond to the given topic by creating sentences. This is our course. They are given a topic. I don't write on another one. If I write on another topic, it means I don't understand what's in front of me, or I cannot write and I have something ready-made and I just want to put it there. If I say, should we ban smoking? I should respond to this question. Yes, we should ban smoking, or no, we should not. But I talk about the history of smoking, or I talk about the cinema. I'm not responding to the question. And I'm not responding because I cannot write. So first I should respond, and I respond by creating sentences. Why creating? I'm creating them, I'm not translating them. I create a sentence because I have an idea that's in my head. The idea is in English, and I write it in English. I create the sentence in English. It is not English sentences, or I mean words of English that cover or are based on an Arabic structure. I actually create the sentences. The student has to ask himself or herself, have we ever spoken English? Have we ever written anything in English? They will say, yes, of course, we have done a lot of translation. All the time, we have a book in front of us, we look at the English word, and then we have an Arabic word, English word, Arabic word, and so on, and then we have dictionaries, English, Arabic, and sometimes we do English, just English. We have a text in English, and then question English, and answer in English, but nothing is English still, because we're simply taking pieces of the text and moving them around. The text says, the La Tour Eiffel is in Paris. The Eiffel Tower is in Paris. Question, where is the Eiffel Tower? Eiffel Tower is written here and written there, so if I take the piece of text that's up here and I put it in my answer, things are fine. I'm not creating sentences, I'm simply manipulating the sentences in front of me. So maybe the student has been studying English for 20 years, but the student has never created a sentence in English. The student should not translate. The student should not answer questions like these, where the student can take pieces of the text and put it there, or learn pieces of text and then the questions will try to elicit this piece of text and then they put it there. The student should stand there, live an existential situation where he says, I am sitting now, all right, in a chair, armchair, to a desk. There's a desk in front of me, and there's a book. I see a book in front of me. It's colored in a funny way. There's some kind of red, scarlet red, and yellow and green, and I don't like this combination at all. It's about Jung. I like this philosopher, this psychologist, and I would like to read that book. If I read it, it will enhance my ability to think. I'm creating English. I'm living this situation where I talk about myself, what's in front of me, what I'm doing, and I do this in English. No other thought came in my head, like a French thought or an Arabic thought or a Chinese one, and then I tried to search for the English words for them. Or I'm not trying to answer questions where people ask me, for example, talk about industry in Korea. I read this yesterday. Industry in Korea is, and then I just recite what I read. I'm not creating sentences, but now when I said I'm sitting here, I'm talking about what I'm doing, how I feel, and I actually create sentences. I say, there is some flag there waving in the air. I look at it and I feel this flag could represent some. I'm talking about what I see in front of me and how I feel at this moment, and I say this in English directly. I start with the existential I in the world. I am thrown into the world, into a situation, and I face it. I against the other, the world. This is the very basic thing where I think and then I speak. I express my ideas, and I look at things around me and turn them into sentences. And then I add my ideas and my feelings. I arrange them in the manner I like. I'm speaking English. I'm writing English. I do this on a sheet of paper. So I'm actually creating sentences. I'm a writer on the very basic level. So we said we should respond to the question given to us, and we should create sentences. Then we express simple ideas. Why? This is not a course in engineering where I want you to tell me about the engineering ideas of geniuses of the 18th century, 19th century or so. I don't ask you about ideas that are great, that are fancy or whatever. Give me simple ideas, but put them in creative sentences. The students respond to what they are given. They do not remember the essays they have learned by heart. All the time I'm talking about the requirement of this course, of writing academically at the university, starting by this kind of symbol creating of sentences. Later on we'll say this will be put into paragraphs and into essays. Students should apply the rules they learn from the book. Now, we talked about simple sentences, and now we see how we organize these into an essay of 5 paragraphs that has a thesis. Now, we'll talk about this more next time, but we say there are requirements, and these are found in the book. After we said that we should create sentences, now we say these sentences will be organized into paragraphs. The first paragraph will give me a thesis, the major idea and the one idea I'm dealing with, the point of view. Like, for example, we should ban smoking in public places. There has to be division. I don't say all my ideas and go round and round the idea. No, I divide my ideas into 3 aspects. My idea on 3 levels, 3 causes or whatever. My ideas will be clear when I divide them into the components and then explain them one at a time. And we'll see this, of course, when we talk about writing the actual essay. We need a thesis in 1 paragraph, in the first paragraph, the point of view of the writer. We need division. The supporting ideas are 3 in 3 paragraphs, 3 distinct paragraphs, and they look like paragraphs. We need organization, and we need linear writing. I follow 1 line from beginning to end, and this will always be there in all our writing, etc. The rest of the specific demands or details of this program. Now let's see the meaning of division. This is an analytic way of thinking. That's why we say writing is a way of thinking. We have to think analytically. Writers start with dividing the whole thing into smaller elements. Every smaller element undergoes another process of division and so on. The idea of division here is that when I want to talk about, for example, banning smoking, and I say why I'm banning smoking, I have three elements here. I talk about banning smoking for that cause and for that and that. I have to make this very clear in this analytic manner, point number 1, number 2, number 3, without saying point number 1 and number 2 and number 3. And we'll see this while we write. But we need division. This is analytic way. Now about the paragraph. The paragraph can stand alone, expressing a complete idea. It should develop a single clear idea. It can also be a part of a larger composition of a number of paragraphs. We have something called paragraph in English. We have a similar thing in Arabic, but sometimes students do not study this in Arabic in a clear way, so we have to make this clear in English. A paragraph carries one idea. So if I see an essay of 5 paragraphs, maybe I have an introduction, this one idea, one paragraph. I have 3 elements, 3 distinct clear ones, like the economic aspect, the political aspect, the social aspect, in 3 paragraphs. So one of these paragraphs will be only social. So if I read in one paragraph ideas about society and people and friends, and I say this is the social aspect, this should be one paragraph. Once I talk about the resources and wealth and money, here's another idea. I'm talking about the economic aspect, so this is not a good paragraph. I need to put the economic aspect into another paragraph. If I take text that's not written with organization and the economic aspects are written at the beginning, then we have social, then economic again, then cultural, then economic once more. The ideas are mingled in the wrong way. When I make an organization, I will take all the economic aspects and put them in one paragraph, and I say this one paragraph has this unity. This is the economic aspect. So paragraphs are not only how things look on the page. Paragraph means that it carries one idea. We look at this paragraph in front of us. It is a paragraph about a paragraph. It should be written in this manner. First, here the word "the" comes after a space. This space is called indentation. We indent the paragraph. Because if paragraphs are written one after another without indentation, we don't know where's the beginning of one paragraph, where's the end of the other. If we go up here, writers, this is a paragraph like that. We say here the paragraph up till here should be written exactly in this same manner. When the idea is finished, we full stop. We start the new paragraph at a new line, and we start with indentation. Sometimes students think these things don't matter, but no, this is the beginnings of writing. We have something like 1,000 things to follow. The first one is to follow how the paragraph looks, how sentences look. Once more, we look at the paragraph and we see how it looks on the page. We have indentation. We have a capital letter to start the first sentence. The first sentence finished, we have a full stop. We start a new sentence, we have it, have a capital letter, and then we have a full stop, then we have a capital letter, then we have a full stop. Now we look at this paragraph and we say we have sentence number 1, the general one, sentence number 2, sentence number 3. A paragraph is made up of a number of sentences, a minimum of 2. One sentence per paragraph is not required, is not the right way to do it. Here is a paragraph in front of me of 3 sentences. We will try to follow this kind of thing. This is the layout of the paragraph, and the page should show us paragraphs like this, and I'll talk about this again once more. But here's a paragraph carrying one idea, and it looks like a paragraph as well, the physical shape of the paragraph on the page. So one idea, and this one kind of entity, one kind of layout that looks from afar as a paragraph. Now a paragraph has sentences that are grammatical, and this is very essential. Writing sentences that are not grammatical will make ideas unclear and unacceptable. Sentence structure is very important, and we can't stress it enough. Once more, why do we say this in an advanced course like that? Because students actually succeed to reach this level without being able to write a correct sentence. And they think that ideas are important, and I wonder, how can I express ideas in faulty grammar? Ideas are important, yes, but they have to be written in sentence structure that's correct. The sentence structure can be a subject and a verb as a minimum, like when I say birds fly, subject and verb. He died, just a very simple sentence, subject and verb, I don't need any more. Some verbs like die don't need an object or a completion, so I say he died, and this is a sentence. Or we can have an object, he ate an apple. Or we can have a complement, like he's happy, or he's here, or he's there. So a subject and a verb is basic to any sentence in English. We may have nothing after that, we may have an object after that, we may have a complement, but every single sentence in English will have a subject and a verb, unless of course it's an order. When we say go, sit, play, and so on. But other than this, all our statements will be like that, and then variations on that, like when we make a question, when we give an order, but the basic sentence structure is subject and verb. Going back to the paragraph, we see the paragraph can, here's the subject and here's the verb. The sentence finished, full stop. The rest is completion. Then it should, subject and verb, then completion. Then it can, subject and verb. If I have a million sentences, we'll have this kind of structure. We don't have this in Arabic because Arabic has different kinds of structures, and this is the problem we're talking about all the time. We write English, we use English structures. It's not only words. The language is not words. Language is sentences, is structures. Now here are the basic structures of English: subject and verb, all the time subject and verb with whatever completion there is or with nothing. Sentences could not all be simple like that, they would be complex, but actually they are still simple because they are subject and verb, and again subject and verb with a connector in the middle connecting two simple sentences. We'll call them here two clauses. So this is a complex sentence, but still the same structure is there. It's only repeated. Subject and verb with because as a linker. Sentences with because would be called complex. Sentences with only a subject and verb, like he died, or he ate an apple, or he is here, are simple. Compound sentences is when we say he died, but we still remember him. This is compound with but. Sentences will be simple, compound, and complex. Then etc. means we can have compound complex sentences. We have to study these things and know that when I write paragraphs, they have to have this kind of structure. The subject and verb as a basic sentence, or we repeat this twice with because, we make it a complex sentence. We have a linker like but, it's a compound one, and then we have other varieties that we should learn and use in writing. Now let's talk about the organization, and this is again a very general idea about what we write and how we write. Diagram of a thesis and division of supporting ideas. Now in front of us now we see a diagram that we will draw when we write an English essay. This diagram gives us the topic plus the thesis. Then this leads to aspect 1, aspect 2, aspect 3. If, for example, we ask an argument on the subject of whether fashion is a good thing or a bad thing, fashion in clothes, and then some person says, I have a point of view, I believe that fashion has a bad effect on us. Then we say, you have to convince us of this idea, this is your idea, not everybody agrees, so you have a point of view here that you have to defend. The writer says, my point of view here, which is fashion has a bad effect on us, fashion has an adverse effect on society, on people. This is a point of view that has to be supported. We say, why? So the writer says, I will support this idea with 3 points. I'll start like this. I'm talking about fashion. This is my topic. My thesis is this: fashion in clothes has a bad effect. The topic is fashion. The thesis is saying something about this topic. Fashion in clothes has a bad effect. Now, we should be convinced. This is a claim. You make a claim. Support it. I support it like this. One aspect is very expensive. First of all, fashion in clothes costs a lot of money, costs a fortune. Okay, this is one point. Give me another. Another one that's distinct and different, not the same one. So I move on to another idea, which needs another paragraph. And I say, fashion in clothes creates differences between classes. There is a social aspect to the problem, and there is this kind of making the social classes more, aggravating the problem of the differences between the social classes. All right, so you give me two supporting ideas. Can you give me a third one to convince me? Yes, I can give a point about culture. Culture is a topic. So I turn this into a topic statement or a thesis statement like the one before, and I say, the cultural identity of a country may be lost because fashion coming from the outside, from outside this country. There is a cultural aspect. Fashion may lead to loss of national identity. Now, here are ideas, but they are organized and they are divided, they are analytic in this way. My claim is that fashion has a bad effect. I support this with 3 points, 3 distinct points. One of them is economic, the second one is social, the third one is cultural. But in every one, of course, I make a sentence, and I say in the economic one, fashion costs a lot of money. The next one, the social one, fashion aggravates the differences between classes, makes it more and more, the differences are more. Third one, fashion can lead to loss of national identity. Now, this is how I make a claim, and then I support it with pieces of evidence. This is what we see in the diagram in front of us. In a very quick manner, we say we have a topic, we have a thesis. The topic is we talk about fashion. Thesis, I made it like a point of view saying that fashion affects us adversely. Then aspect number one, the economic aspect, which I have to explain and explain and explain and explain. I said it costs a lot of money, I have to say more. And we'll do this, of course, when we talk in more details. And then this is an aspect about the economic issue that has to be written in a full paragraph. Topic and thesis will take paragraph number 1. Aspect number 1 will be paragraph number 2. Aspect number 2 will be paragraph number 3. And of course, number 3 will be paragraph number 4, and then we need a conclusion. Of course, when I make a diagram, I'll not say topic and thesis and aspect and so on. This is just for teaching. I would write the actual things, like for example, fashion and then plus bad. Then here I say economy. And number 2, I say economy. Here, aspect number 1. Aspect number 2, I say social, and so on. And the dots here, I add the details and details. These details are made in a diagram, so I can use them later in a full essay. Details like what? I cannot start saying, first of all, there is an economic aspect, and then I stop, because I say this is too general. You have to explain. The general sentence here is the topic sentence of this paragraph. And we see that a paragraph has one idea, paragraph, one idea, paragraph, one idea, and they are distinct. After I say the general one, I say the detailed ideas. Detailed ideas are what? I explain details, like, what do you mean cost of a lot of money? So I say, a dress that carries a brand name, like Gucci, may cost something like £5,000 for a lady whose salary is only £1,000. And a dress like that will be worn for a short while, not for a number of years. After a short while, the lady has to buy another one. So this is really very costly. I'm taking the economic aspect, I'm talking about details, I'm giving names like Gucci, giving numbers like £5,000. So I moved from the idea of economic, or a lot of money, or costs a fortune, the general idea, into the particular details of that idea, moving from the general to the particular. This is how the paragraph moves. Within one paragraph, topic sentence with very general ideas, and then explanation, concrete examples. This is how we write the paragraphs. I do the same thing with the next paragraph and the next one. We'll do this in details when we talk about the first element or the first essay in the course next time. Now let's see another point while we're thinking about a topic. This is again the background, the general idea. We have brainstorming. When you are given a subject, the first thing is that we think we don't have anything to say about it, so we brainstorm. We find in our brains all the ideas that are related somehow without organization. So, jotting down ideas in the form of single words, phrases, notation marks. If we ask about fashion, we start saying, well, it's about money, it's about new things, it's about beautiful clothing, it's about glasses. So first I have these ideas that I may write down to help myself think in the format of words, of phrases, not sentences, not the essay. Notation marks, when I say plus, minus, leading to, just marks. Now this stage at the beginning, brainstorming, I'm just searching my brain for ideas. If I'm giving something that I've never thought of before, like I said, now we talk about pharmaceutical companies, about companies of medicines. If I start writing, I don't have ideas, so I brainstorm, I write down any idea that comes to my mind as words or phrases to help me think. But then I take these ideas and I organize them. We organize in planning. We outline. This is the plan of my essay. Here's Latin numeral 1 means paragraph 1. Latin numeral 2, paragraph 2. 3, paragraph 3. 4, paragraph 4. Then 5, paragraph 5. We'll write 5 paragraphs. In paragraph 1, the first paragraph, we have points 1, 2, 3. These are Arabic numerals. Arabic numerals tell me the details within the general framework. Paragraph 1, which is the introduction, will have these details. First, introducing the topic. If it is about fashion, we talk about fashion. We say that people are crazy about fashion today, and we see it a lot. People study it, love it, and so on. Introduction, we say what topic we are talking about. We introduce the topic. We may talk about the background, we may define it, but then at the end of paragraph 1, we write our thesis. Thesis here is a point of view. If I say fashion and clothes, this is not a point of view. If I say fashion and clothes has a good effect on us, it's a point of view. Has a bad effect, it's a point of view. Fashion and clothes helps industry, or the textile industry, this is a point of view. Points of view are numerous. All of them are made up of a subject and a verb and whatever completion there is. We actually call this the subject and the predicate. Subject is the subject we're talking about. The predicate is what we say about it. If I name a person like John, John is the subject I'm talking about. Yes, what about John? John is a good person. This is what we say about him. Now I made a point of view. But simply John is not a point of view. Simply a man is not a point of view. The man sitting there is not a point of view. But the man sitting there is very intelligent is a point of view. A point of view here will be stated as a thesis statement. A point of view concerning a number of issues, and we'll deal with this next time. But we know there is a point of view when I write an argument, and we mention this at the end of paragraph 1. This is the classical way of writing. Writers use different methods, but they have some kind of organization, one type or another. As beginners, we'll use this classical one and we'll follow it until we learn well. Then later on we can break the rules, we can have our own rules. But we start taking this course to learn these rules first. We make sure that we learn them, we apply them. Because when we pass this course well, we say now we have graduated, we can break the rules, we can add, we can modify, we can follow writers, and so on. Paragraph 1 in planning is the introduction from beginning to end. We start with an introducing idea, with the topic, we end with a thesis. Paragraph 2, of course, gives the first supporting idea in a topic sentence. As we said, the economic aspect, for example. Then we explain, we elaborate, we say more details. We said economic, we said a fortune. Can you elaborate? Can you say more? Fortune, how much? On what? And what's wrong with that? So give more details. We give concrete examples. We don't simply say it's costly. Costs a lot. Yes, how much? Give exact numbers. And give me a name. Say Cartier. Say the name of any brand name. Then we move to the second paragraph. The third paragraph, of course, giving the second idea, the second supporting idea in a topic sentence. Second Supporting idea in a very general way, saying, for example, furthermore, there is a social aspect. This is the supporting idea. Then we explain it, and then we give concrete examples. Of course, the next one will be similar, third supporting idea. We explain it and we elaborate. We give concrete examples. And then we move to the conclusion, the last paragraph, where we say the thesis again. We remind the reader of what we said. We said fashion has an adverse effect on people, bad effect, or whatever the subject is. Then we comment, we give a point of view. When you write, this is the plan, we take the plan and we turn it into a draft. Writing the first draft. Very well written in sentences and paragraphs. We take the outline, we turn it into 5 paragraphs, and we write them very well. This is my first draft. First draft does not mean it is scrambling, it is bad, it's ugly, it's full of scratches. No, we do our best to make even our first draft very well written. And then draft does not mean sloppy. Draft is the first written copy following the rules discussed. I say that because we think draft means we write things in bad handwriting, we write it in incorrect grammar, we write it without organization, and then we turn the draft into the fair copy where we try to do everything all of a sudden or all at once. That's not right. If the draft is bad, the fair copy or the last copy will be as bad. When we write the draft, it is organized, it is 5 paragraphs, it's written in grammatical English, but we can make a mistake here or there. These will be very few. Then we correct that later. The draft cannot be sloppy. It has to be written well. Writing the second draft, we revise and modify the organization of the ideas. We write another draft not because the handwriting is bad, but because we may think the ideas need to be modified. We need to add more details. We need to reorganize. So it's an idea of writing it in a better way. Although it is already excellent, it is not sloppy. Then we write a third draft where we revise for grammar and spelling. Now we don't think of ideas, concentrate on the grammar and spelling at one time. Then we write the final one, which should be as neat as possible. Use the given diagram. We should use the diagram we saw before and write any diagram concerning any subject. Take, for example, an idea like fashion, as we said, and put it in a diagram. Use the diagram to analyze the ideas. Use the given diagram to give supporting ideas to your point of view. Attempt turning the diagram into an essay, simple but correct. So we should apply what we learned today on writing any simple essay. And let's say the one on fashion that we spoke about. Thank you.